I stood outside room 208, staring at her name on the chart like it might burn itself off the page. Emily Cartwright Miller. No hyphen. No Johnson. No trace of me. Behind the door, I could hear muffled voices, crying hushed prayers, a man trying too hard to keep it together. Her father, probably. The one who called me a good man, just not the right fit for our daughter. The one time we almost met. I was the ghost they all ignored. And now I was back, in flesh and blood, and they were about to choke on the truth. I took a breath, reached for the handle, and stepped inside. The room went quiet like a record scratch. 6 white faces turned toward me, all frozen in place like someone had hit pause. Her mother gasped. Her sister stood back, like I might have brought danger in with me. The man closest to the bed, mid-60s, pressed shirt, shaking hands, squared his shoulders. "Can I help you?" he asked, voice clipped and suspicious. I looked at him, looked at all of them. Then my eyes found her, Emily. My wife. Pale, eyes sunken, but awake. Barely. She reached toward me with trembling fingers. "Andre." I stepped forward. Slowly. "I'm not here for you," I said, my voice low but firm. "I'm here for her." "And who are you exactly?" Her sister snapped, eyes narrowed. Security said this was family only. "I am family." Her father bristled. "Sir, I don't know what this is, but this isn't the time." "I was her husband," I said, loud enough for the nurses in the hallway to turn their heads. "I am her husband. 9 years. You never met me because she was too scared to bring a black man into this family." Her mother gasped again. Her sister's jaw dropped. Her father's face went pale, then red. "You're lying," he said. "Emily would never." "Wouldn't she?" I stepped closer, my chest tight, but my voice steady. "Ask her. Ask your daughter if the man standing in front of you is the one who held her hand every night through her chemo. The one who raised your grandson while she told the world he was adopted." "Enough!" Her mother cried, tears brimming. This isn't the time to come in here and make accusations." I looked at Emily. Her lips were trembling. "Tell them," I said gently. "Tell them who I am. Don't let me leave this world the way I entered yours. Invisible." She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. "Daddy, I married him. I married Andre." Silence. Thick and suffocating. Her father stepped back like he'd been struck. No, that can't be true," he muttered. You couldn't have." "I did," Emily whispered. "And I lied, because I knew what you'd say." And right there, in that sterile white hospital room, something broke. Not in me. I'd broken years ago. But in them. In him. The man who'd built a life around a lie that his daughter was too afraid to challenge. Until now. I didn't come to gloat. I came to say goodbye. But the truth has a way of shaking walls, even if you only whisper it. And I wasn't whispering anymore. I didn't flinch when her father called for the nurse. I just stood there, arms crossed, watching his world crumble like a statue hit with a hammer. His hand shook so hard he dropped his phone, then bent down slowly to pick it up, like he was stalling, like maybe if he moved slow enough, I'd disappear. I didn't. "Get him out," he said, without even looking at me. "Get this man out of here." The nurse stepped into the room, confused, caught in the tension like a deer between 2 headlights. I turned toward her calmly. "I'm Andre Johnson," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Her husband. Legally. Spiritually. Fully." Emily coughed softly, her voice barely there. "It's true. He's my husband." Her sister let out a sharp laugh, part disbelief, part fear. You've got to be kidding. Him? You married him and never told us? You let Mom and Dad throw a $40,000 engagement party for a man who didn't exist. He wasn't fake, Emily said. He just wasn't white. The silence turned into a storm of voices. Her father, this is betrayal. Her mother, you're delusional. This is the morphine talking. Her brother, who had just walked in, pizza box in hand, stood frozen in the doorway, blinking like he missed the plot twist of the decade. I stayed still, didn't move, didn't raise my voice. But inside me, there was fire. Do you know what it's like to be loved in secret? To spend anniversaries eating takeout in the car because she was busy with family? To watch her pick photos for social media and crop your hand out of every frame? I loved her anyway. Not for how she showed me off, but for how she held me when nobody else was looking. But I was done hiding now. I'm not going anywhere, I said. Not today. You don't belong here, her father barked. This is a family room. I turned and looked him straight in the eye. I'm her husband. You are her parents. That doesn't give you the right to rewrite her life. Emily stirred, tears sliding down her cheeks. Please stop fighting. Her voice was a thread. Thin, fragile, and somehow that hit me harder than all their words combined. I walked over to the side of her bed and took her hand. She didn't pull away. She squeezed. It was the same hand I'd held through labor. The same hand I kissed when she panicked over hiding me from her parents. The same hand that slipped that wedding ring on mine, alone in a courthouse with no family in sight. They hadn't just erased me. They'd erased her choices, her truth. Emily, her mother pleaded, her voice cracking. Why would you do this to us? Why him? She blinked, slow. Because he never made me feel ashamed of who I was. Her father slammed his fist against the wall. This isn't who you are. No, I said, cutting in. This isn't who you thought she was. He turned on me so fast. I saw rage before I saw his face. Don't speak to me like you know us. I don't, I said. But I know your daughter. And I know what love looks like when it has to survive in the dark. No one spoke after that. Even the machines in the room felt like they'd gone quiet. Later that night, after the family had been asked to step out for tests, I sat alone with her. Just me and Emily, and the slow beep of a heart monitor. You still mad? She asked, voice thin but teasing. I laughed, but it was dry. I'm not mad. I'm tired. Tired of being a secret. I know, she whispered. I'm sorry. I thought I was protecting you. I looked at her, really looked. Her skin was pale, her eyes sunken, but her spirit, it was still there. I didn't need protection, I said. I needed pride. I needed to be your husband in the light, not just in the dark. A tear slipped down her cheek. Will you forgive me? I paused. I already did, I said. But I won't forgive them. She closed her eyes and whispered. Then show them. Show them everything I couldn't. That night, I went home and pulled out the box. Our wedding photos. The ones she said we'd print later. Her letters. The ones she wrote after every fight. The ultrasound. Our son's first drawing of us holding hands. Him with brown skin. Her with pale skin. Both smiling. The next morning, I brought the box to the hospital. Her family was already there, clustered like a jury. No one looked at me. I set the box down on the table in the center of the room. What's this? Her mother asked, suspicion in her voice. The truth, I said. You didn't want to hear it from her. So now you're gonna see it from me. They didn't move as I took out the photos, one by one, and placed them like evidence on the table. Her father's hand twitched. Her sister went still. A courthouse wedding. A beach trip. Our son in her arms. Us laughing in the kitchen. Her in a headscarf, mid-chemo, smiling up at me like I hung the stars. This is the life she chose, I said. The life you were too proud or too prejudiced to accept. She didn't have to hide from us, her mother murmured. Yes, she did, I said sharply. Because you gave her no room to be honest. Because you would rather believe she was alone than believe she married a black man. No one argued. Not because they agreed, but because they finally realized they were standing on a lie too big to hold. Emily stirred. I turned to her. You okay? I asked gently. She nodded. Thank you. Her father looked at her, and for the first time, I saw something in his eyes that looked like shame. But it came too late, because now the truth was out, and I wasn't leaving the room again. I walked back into the hospital room with a folded letter in my pocket. Not for Emily, for her father. He watched me like I was holding a weapon. I was. Read it, I said, handing him the envelope. He didn't take it, so I tossed it onto the chair beside him. I'm not playing your game, he muttered. I leaned in. It's not a game. It's your daughter's will. His whole face twitched. She wrote it last week. In case. Said she didn't trust you all to let me say goodbye properly if anything happened. The silence was a thunderclap. Emily coughed softly in the bed. She was getting weaker. I could see it now, in the paleness of her lips, the way she blinked slow, like each movement drained her. Her father picked up the envelope and opened it with shaking hands. His eyes scanned the page. His jaw locked. His nostrils flared. Then he looked at me. You manipulated her, he hissed. Don't you dare, I said, my voice cold. Everything in that letter is her. Her voice. Her truth. Not mine. He dropped it like it burned him. She left everything to you, her mother whispered, barely audible. I nodded. Everything, including the decision of who gets to be in that room when she takes her last breath. Are you threatening to keep us out? Her sister snapped. No, I said. I'm saying she didn't want more lies in this room. So if you can't honor her real life, her whole life, you can wait in the hallway. Her father's face went red. Her mother wiped tears but didn't speak. That's when the door opened, and he walked in. Our son, Jordan, 16, tall like me, with his mother's fire in his eyes. He looked around the room, jaw tight, fists clenched. He'd heard everything outside the door. They didn't know, he asked, looking at me. I shook my head. He laughed bitterly. Wow. So all those birthday cards with no return address. The ones she cried over? They were from them. Her mother looked like she'd seen a ghost. You're her child? Jordan stared her down. You sent your daughter flowers and refused to send me a name. You acted like I didn't exist. I didn't know, she whispered. He snapped back. You didn't want to know. Emily's breath hitched. I rushed to her side. Her eyes found Jordan's. Hey, baby. He grabbed her hand, softer than I expected, gentler than any of them ever deserved to witness. I'm here, Mom, he whispered. I'm here. I'm sorry I kept you hidden. I'm not, he said. You were protecting me. And yourself. And Dad. The way he said Dad made my throat tight. Her father stood now, staring at Jordan like he wasn't real. So you're the boy who kept calling. Jordan blinked. I called to tell her about graduation. You hung up. I'd never seen a man shrink so fast. Emily looked at me. Andre. I'm scared. I leaned close. I'm right here. I want them to hear it. From me. She took a shaky breath and turned to her parents. I loved him. Every single day. Even when I hated hiding. Even when I wished things were different. I still loved him. Her mother sobbed. I was afraid to lose you, but I lost myself trying to keep you. Jordan clenched her hand tighter. I have one request, Emily whispered. Anything, I said. Don't fight them. Not for me. Not after I'm gone. I nodded, even though everything in me wanted to scream. I didn't want peace. I wanted justice. But I'd keep the promise. When the doctor walked in to check vitals, her father stepped out without a word. That night, I found him sitting alone in the hallway, staring at the vending machine like it held the meaning of life. He didn't look up when I sat beside him. You think I hated you, he finally said. I don't think, I said. I know. He shook his head. I feared you. Same thing to a black man in this country. He didn't argue. I grew up thinking color was danger. That love was something safe and familiar. I thought you were taking her away from us. I turned to him. You ever think maybe you were the one taking her away? He looked at me like he'd never considered it. Emily said something once, I said. She said love doesn't erase who we are, it reveals it. You never let her reveal anything. He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I don't know how to fix it. You can't, I said. But you can show up now. You can see your grandson. You can stop pretending like we're the problem. He nodded slowly. And for the first time since I met him, I believed he might mean it. We buried her on a rainy Thursday. Not one of those light, poetic drizzles. This was heavy rain. Unapologetic. Like the sky was mourning too. I stood by her casket, holding Jordan's hand. He didn't cry. Not because he wasn't hurting, but because he'd spent too many years holding everything in. Just like I had. Her father sat 2 rows behind us. Quiet. No suit. No umbrella. Just soaked clothes and shame. He didn't speak during the service. Didn't have to. The silence around him spoke louder than anything he could have said. When the preacher invited anyone to say a few words, Jordan stepped forward before I could stop him. Most of y'all didn't know my mom, he said, voice clear and sharp. Or maybe you thought you did. You knew the version she let you see. Some heads turned. Her sister shifted uncomfortably. But I knew all of her. The fighter. The woman who stayed up 3 nights straight helping me with finals. The one who carried her pain like it was her fault. He looked back at me. She loved loud in a world that made her love in silence. And that's not on her. That's on all of us. Then he turned to her family. I forgive you, he said. Her mother gasped softly. But I don't forget. And I won't pretend it didn't happen. She deserved better. And from now on, I'll speak her name the way she wanted it said. Out loud, in public, without shame. He walked back to me, sat down, and never broke. People came up to us after, whispering things like we had no idea, or she should have told us, or my personal favorite. It's so nice you came anyway. Like I was a guest in my own pain. Jordan looked at me and said, let's go home. We did. That night, I found a video file on Emily's laptop, dated 2 days before she went into the hospital for the last time. I opened it. There she was, hair pulled back, face thinner than I remembered, eyes glowing. If you're watching this, she began, then I'm gone. I froze. Jordan appeared behind me and placed a hand on my shoulder. We watched together. I didn't get to say all the things I wanted, she continued. So I'm saying them now. She paused, exhaled slowly. I was afraid. Not of Andre. Not of love. But of what love costs a black man in a white world. I didn't want him to pay for choosing me. She smiled sadly. I thought I was protecting you, baby. But I see now. I was just delaying the truth. She looked into the camera. Jordan, you are not half anything. You are whole. Beautiful. Brilliant. And you get to take up space. Don't let anyone, not even family, make you feel like you're not enough. She swallowed hard. And Andre, thank you. For loving me when it was hard. For staying when I made it harder. I wanted more time. But I'm grateful for the time we had. The video ended with her reaching out toward the lens, as if trying to touch us one last time. Jordan wiped his eyes and whispered, "She never gave up on us." I nodded, and that's when we heard a knock at the door. It was her father. Alone. No flowers. No apologies in hand. Just him. "I don't expect you to let me in," he said. "But I was hoping you'd let me listen." Jordan didn't move. Didn't speak. I turned to him. "Your call, son." He stared at his grandfather for a long second, then stepped aside. One small move. One massive shift. Her father walked in slowly, eyes darting around like everything inside reminded him of a daughter he never fully knew. "You loved her," he said finally, voice cracking. "I see that now." "I did," I said. "Still do." He looked at Jordan. "I owe you more than words." Jordan folded his arms. "Then stop pretending and show up." The old man nodded. And for once, he didn't offer excuses. Didn't explain it away. Just sat at the kitchen table while we made tea. That night, Jordan asked me if things would ever feel normal. I told him, we don't need normal. We need truth. And he said, then let's start there. 3 weeks later, Jordan stood at the podium his mother once feared she'd never be accepted behind. It was her old college. They'd invited him to speak after the story broke. After news spread that a woman they once celebrated for her academic excellence had kept an entire family hidden in the shadow of social fear. But Jordan didn't show up to defend her. He came to honor her and to challenge everyone else. "I'm not here to paint a perfect picture," he told the crowd. "My mom was complicated, brave, scared, fierce, and human. She loved someone who didn't look like her, and the world punished her for it. People shifted in their seats. But the real shame wasn't her silence," he continued. "It was yours." Gasps rippled through the room. He paused. "You made her feel like love had to be hidden to survive. And even in her final days, she was still scared to let the truth out." A single tear rolled down his cheek, but he didn't waver. "Well, I'm done being hidden. I'm here. Black, proud, and unafraid." Silence. Then someone stood up. Then another. Applause erupted, not polite, not performative. Real. When he stepped off stage, I was waiting. "You did her proud," I said. "She deserved the truth," he replied. "And so do we." That night, a news anchor asked Jordan during a televised interview, "What do you want people to take from your story?" Jordan leaned forward. "I want them to stop choosing comfort over courage. I want them to stop letting racism wear a quiet face. And most of all, I want every kid who looks like me to know, you don't need anyone's permission to be enough." I watched him on the screen. Strong. Steady. Everything Emily hoped he'd be. The next morning, we visited her grave. Jordan left a photo, one of us 3, from the day he graduated high school. On the back he wrote, "We're still here. Still rising. Still yours." I stood beside him, thinking about all the moments we'd lost, all the ones we fought for, and how, somehow, we turned silence into something louder than hate ever expected. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just her story anymore. It was ours. A story of betrayal, yes, but also bravery. A story about what happens when you stop hiding. When you face injustice head-on, even when your knees shake. A story about how the truth, once buried, doesn't stay buried forever. It rises, like Jordan did, like Emily wanted us to. And if this story touched something deep in you, if you believe in justice, in love without conditions, in fighting racism with truth and courage, then like this video, share it, subscribe to this channel, Justice Throne, because every story we tell might just save, uplift, or awaken someone who's been living in the dark for too long. Together we rise, one story at a time.